Hello guys and welcome to another video. Now I've been receiving a lot of questions in regards to the video I posted yesterday on my gear and how do I tank arbiter, how expensive is this build, why am I running CI and all of this kind of questions. So today I'll be trying to answer as many of these as possible. So to start off, we'll be looking at my gear, right? So let's take a look at the weapon I'm using. I'm using a +7 to fire spell stuff. And do know that the only important stats you need on your weapon are the +7 to spell levels, increased spell damage or fire damage, and damage as extra fire. So 4 stats, right? You can either get something like mine where it's a hybrid spell damage and mana, sorry, or you can get a spell damage, fire damage, gain extra fire, and 7 to fire spells. Now, you can also replace this with a wand and a focus. So a wand gives you +5 levels, and a focus can give you up to +2. So moving on. A helmet. My helmet is nothing special, right? It's just a bunch of energy shield, some resistance on it, and rarity. Just get a helmet with as much energy shield as possible. The rings. So my first ring I'm using is the Black Flame. So what Black Flame does is that it makes enemy takes chaos damage for your ignite instead of fire damage. Do know that this is not a damage conversion, so you still have to scale increased fire damage for your ignite. If you were to scale increased chaos damage, it does not work because this is not a damage conversion. I got a crafted 6% skill speed so I can whirling slash a little bit faster, but you don't really need that. You can just get a clean one, non-corrupted one. Gloam Gown, this is the star of the show. In case you guys haven't seen the previous video that I made, this is what allows me to regenerate like almost 10,000 energy shield in like a quarter of a second. I got some fancy corrupt on it, but you really don't need any stats on this. You don't need the spirit, you don't need the resistance, you don't really need anything on this. You get a clean one, and it only costs like an exalt at most. For the ring, I'm doing triple alley ring. Basically a ring, you just want to get as much resistance on it as possible. Amulet. Now this is something that's a bit different, right? So why did I opt for Rondo? So the only stats I want from Rondo is actually the increased skill speed, because right now my whirling slash is I'm hitting like somewhere around like 3.5 3.8 attacks per second for my whirling slash, so it's kind of sluggish. But with Rondo it pushes it up to 4 attacks per second. So as you can see here, attack time 0.25, so that's around 4 attacks per second. So it makes my whirling slash a lot faster. And the gloves, same thing, just gonna get as much energy shield as possible, attack speed at least 15%, and just a bunch of resistance on it. Now the belt. I've seen some people say, I'm running Infernal Clasp specifically to tank Arbiter, and I kind of agree, but at the same time disagree with what people say, because right now, at least in PoE 2 at the moment, there isn't really a lot of good belts to consider. You could use Headhunter, but Headhunter has like the teleport mod, which you might steal, and that might cancel out your whirlwind. You could use a rare belt, which gives you a lot of resistances. Ingenuity, which doesn't really do much for our build. There's really not a lot of options for belt, and that's why I opted for Infernal Clasp. I would argue this is probably one of the more useful belts in our build, because there's a lot of resistance and as well as maximum resistance, right, to help with my arbiter fight, and I'm too lazy to swap it out. Boots, same thing, bunch of energy shield, resistance, and rarity if you can. You don't have to, but if you can, get some rarity on it. Now, for weapon, this is my mapping setup, right? So, as you can see, I'm using Sky Sliver instead of the Scyther's Spear. So why Sky Sliver? Sky Sliver requires the least amount of strength and dex, and it has the highest attack speed in the game. Look at the attacks per second. It's 2.31. So I bought one crafter with 8% attack speed, and then I socketed another 5% on it. Now do know that this corruption and the sockets are base attack speed, and that's why the attack speed is so high. So it allows me to move a lot faster as compared to Scyther's. You can see the speed difference. It's a lot slower. This is like 0.32 versus 0.25. So you might be wondering, why am I using Sky Sliver over Scyther? Scyther has more damage, right? Because it aggravates my ignite. But the thing is, for mapping, you don't really need that much damage to begin with, right? So you can just opt for a faster, speed of higher attack speed, and you still have ample damage to clear the map with no issues, like be it rares or bosses or whatever. I mean, you could swap your spears when it comes to the boss, like map boss and stuff, but generally I'm too lazy to do that, so I just AFK in front of the boss and the boss just die. Like maybe like it takes like 1 second or 2 seconds longer to kill it. It doesn't really matter. And then we have our focus. Now I have seen some people say that this is a waste of slot. You can just get a higher ES focus, but I disagree with that. And why do I say that? Well, because in PoE or the PoB, a corrupted 24% ally damage taken as chaos apeps is actually giving me more mitigation compared to like a 400 ES focus. Why? Because I'm running CI, so the 24% elemental damage taken as chaos is essentially mitigated, right? It just goes poof, it's non-existent. And together with my Leech Ascendancy, I have around 15% of damage bypasses energy shield. And because my life cannot change, so that 15% damage that bypasses my energy shield is mitigated as well. So it adds up with Apex is around 39% damage mitigation. Elemental damage mitigation. Yeah. So these are my gear. Now some people are wondering, why am I running a rare helmet instead of Atziri's disdain? Now, if you guys aren't aware, in patch 0.2, GGG actually patched the previous interaction with the line gain percentage of maximum life as extra maximum energy shield, so it no longer works the same as in 0.1. So this is so if let's say my life is 1, 13% of additional maximum life energy shield is just like what? This less than 2. Alright, it's like 1.13. So if you can see, if I were to replace my helmet with CI on, yeah, I lose like 4,000 energy shield. And even with the 12% damage bypass, this is still a lot less tankier compared to a rare helmet. Right. So this is my general mapping setup. So when it comes to bossing, obviously I'll swap my spears in, and I'll get Scythers instead of Sky Sliver. Now, why do I have these two, you might ask? So for my arbiter's setup, I actually ran this Ligurium Talisman and Gifts from Above to replace my rare ring. So why these two, you might ask? So let's see. Gifts from Above. Now this doesn't really do much to for our build, right? Except for the last line. You have consecrated ground around you while stationary. So what is consecrated ground? Consecrated ground is basically, it gives you 5% of your max life as regen. So sorry, you regenerate 5% of your maximum life per second. That's what it gives. And yeah, because we're CI, life regen doesn't really matter. But then we also have Ligurium. So Ligurium states that life regeneration is applied to energy shield instead. So instead of 5% life regeneration from consecrated ground, I'm actually getting 5% energy shield regen per second. Now pair this with a huge energy shield pool, I'm regenerating like almost 1,000 energy shield every second. And why am I running this? This is only for the arbiter fight, because arbiter has ignite, and the ignite really does hurt a lot. If your charms were to run out, the ignite will really burn through your energy shield, and that's why I used this to set up these two combo to sort of offset some of the ignite damage. So yeah, so that's my bossing and so-called my mapping setup. So in case you guys aren't aware of how this build works, you basically just swap in your helmet, swap in your amulet, change your weapon set, and you incinerate. Once you fully channels it, right, you create an ignited ground. Sorry, I didn't have enough mana there. Give me a moment. So yeah, basically, what you do is you channel incinerate, you create a ignited ground. You wording slash over it to absorb the ignited ground, and you just carry the ignite around using your wording slash. And it's a pretty straightforward combo. So yeah. Alright, so now let's take a look at our skill tree. So I'm playing a leech at the moment. We'll get to Ascendancy in a bit, but for the skill tree, pretty much what we're doing is just pathing to as much energy shield as humanly possible. You do want to take dampening shield. That gives you your stun threshold equal to 12% maximum energy shield, as well as your ailment threshold, because without this node, you really get frozen and stunned a lot, and I really dislike it when it comes to mapping. So, and it gives 28% energy shield, so it's a pretty valuable node to take. And yeah, generally just a bunch of energy shield all over the place. Now you can see this from nothing duo. It allocates, sorry, it doesn't allocate, but it's dance with death, right? From nothing. So you do not really need this. As you can see here, this is the jewel, right? And what it gives is just a bunch of skill speed and attack speed. Now this is for going fast. But the thing is, this jewel costs quite a bit, right? It's like last time I checked was like 15 divine. So if you don't want to run this, you don't need this. You can get attack speed somewhere else. You can get it from here. You know, there's like what, another 14% here. So you don't really need this. Yeah, so just path through here, get energy shield, 40% energy shield, and damage bypass energy shield. So this one gives me my 5% mitigation, right? Yeah, path down here, weapon set 1, get a bunch of fire ignite damage here, elemental damage. Weapon set 1 again, you know, fire damage, ignites deals damage faster, damage and extra fire damage and stuff like that. And general skill tree is just a bunch of energy shield everywhere, right? Energy shield, everything. Energy shield here, socket, energy shield. Yeah, weapon set 1, ignite, and yeah, maximum resistance. Now you don't really need this, but I do like having this because it gives me like maximum rest, right? Which helps with my arbiter fight. Yeah, weapon set 1, you know, just all the damage, ailment magnitude, fire damage, and all that good stuff. Now for weapon set 2, we are going for all the either attack speed or the AoE nodes, right, to make our rolling slash a little bit bigger. So as you can see, weapon set 2, we have increased area effect, over here as well, a bunch of increased area of effect, and over here, increased area of effect, and a bunch of attack speed. Okay, just 2 points of attack speed here. So yeah, the skill tree is pretty straightforward. Like there's really not much to talk about here. I'm just stacking a bunch of energy shield. Now, why am I running Resolute Technique? Because I'm running the gem reach. So the reach gem reduces my accuracy, I think, by 80% less. So it's 80% less multiplier. And so to offset that, I just run Resolute Technique because I'm pathing right through it anyway. So it makes my hit cannot be evaded, and it's easier for me to land my bleed and to aggravate my bleed and my ignite. I'm also running Whispers of Doom, so I can have up to 2 curses at the same time. So I'm running Enfeeble to reduce the enemy's damage, and Despair to reduce their chaos resistance. So yeah, the skill tree is pretty straightforward. There's really not much to talk about here. For all the jewel sockers, I'm just getting a bunch of energy shield, damaging ailments, deal damage faster, and magnitude of ignite. Yeah, that's literally all my jewels. You can see here, that's all my jewels are the same. Pretty much the same thing. You only need these 3 lines anyway. So yeah, then it comes to Ascendancy. Now, do take note, if you're not planning to face tank arbiter like I did, there's absolutely no need to go for a leech. Now the only reason I go for a leech is because I can get another additional 15% of an elemental damage bypass, damage taken bypass energy shield, which is equivalent to a 15% elemental damage mitigation. If you're running like any other builds, you can do like Titan, you can do Gemling, you can do a lot of stuff. Maybe even like the Ranger and Huntress, but your skill tree will look a lot different from mine. You probably path on the right side. You go for the right side and get like evasion ES node and all the ES here and something like that. I'm not too sure on this, but generally speaking, the skill tree is nothing special, right? Like really just a bunch of energy shield on it. And yeah, I'll be making another guide, or rather another build, but this time around you'll be Gemling. And I do recommend making a Gemling instead of a Leech, because like Leech is a lot tankier, yeah, because of the mitigation and stuff, but a Gemling is a lot faster and it does a lot more damage. Yeah, but keep an eye out on the build. I might release a video maybe like in the next few days because I haven't leveled my gambling yet. It's still like at level 40 or something. But once the build is up and ready, I will get another video out to showcase the difference as well as the tankiness of both builds. So keep your eyes out for that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'm trying to keep it as short as possible. I don't want to ramble on for too long because I know people don't really like to watch like long videos, right? So if you found this kind of video enjoyable, informative, and all that good stuff, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.